What's up everybody, George T from the Wagon here. This week we're going to be changing the engine compartment seal. This is a really important seal that's often overlooked, and this is what keeps your hot side hot and your cold side cold. So let's get into it. So what do I mean by the hot side hot and the cold side cold? This is where your cooling takes place on this motor. That's your air inlet. It's drawing what's supposed to be cool air brought in by the ducting on your vehicle into an engine compartment that is sealed off. The hot exhaust and everything that's below the tins. The tins and the fan are what cool the motor and direct the air over your cylinder heads and pistons to cool them off. If you don't have this seal here, then that fan's very strong. That fan will start sucking this hot air off of this exhaust, off of all the air that's being blown down and coming out here. It'll just recirculate right back into your fan in the back. And that makes for very inefficient cooling. When your seal is in place, it can only draw air from the fresh air ducts as intended by VW. So when is it time to change the seal? If you don't pull your motor often, then anytime I pull the motor, I'd be swapping out the seal if it's in need of it. You're gonna look at the condition. The main reason we're changing this one, that's the wrong seal. They put the seal that should be occupying this space along the back here. There are differences in the seals. The firewall seal is different than the actual apron seal. We're gonna go over those right now. So there's our bell housing seal, AKA the firewall seal. So this has one profile to it. There's not two pieces in it that overlap. The part that they have up there is basically like the apron seal for your early cars that goes top to bottom. The tin should be indexing in between the two rubbers there when this is installed properly. 67 on Beetles require this around the apron. So you can see that big drop off that it does there. This is made for later Beetles, but this split seal goes all the way up to 71 bus. Anything that has a Type 1 engine in the bus platform gets the early style seal. But they both share the same firewall seal. So you install this with this lip facing upward. So when the back breastplate presses against it, it just pushes back like that. If you put it in like this, when it pushes down, it's going to interfere with your throttle pedal and several other items. If you have breathers, any of that stuff, it's going to get in the way. So this is our engine compartment seal. And this is the split version that goes above and below the tin. In a Beetle application, you'll keep it as one piece. For a bus, you do have to cut it into 3 pieces because the aprons are removable. If your seal is still soft, you'll be able to pull it right out of the body. If it's old and hard and crispy, you're probably going to have to take it out in small chunks. My buddy Jason Taylor made me this tool. It's the profile of this channel. And what I do is I run it through it, and I make sure that the body is in good shape the whole way down. I can hear it's full of grime in there, so the first thing we're going to do is clean it. So now that made it through, you can see how much stuff it collected on the end there. So now we're going to clean it. I'm going back to my soap water, heavy on the soap, and just a nylon bristle brush. And we're going to put some in here and then scrub out that channel. we're going to lube it. I use 3M silicone spray for this. Do a controlled spray, don't go nuts. Got our bell housing seal here. I'm going to give this a spray as well. Once you start getting it sprayed up, you may need a rag to actually grab it and pull with it. My left hand is actually doing the pulling. All I'm doing with my right is making sure that it goes into that channel, because if you just grab this and go, you're going to miss it, and then all of a sudden you're pulling the whole thing through like a wacko. If you're installing this into Beetle, then this would have about 2 inches hanging off the bottom of it. This is actually cut to the length for the 68 to 71 bus, and it fits right to the ends on it. Make sure you get your rubber kind of centered on it, so it has that nice upward flange to it. So when your breastplate's coming into it, it presses it upwards. That's our firewall seal. You don't need to cut it. You know, you'll see them cut all the time because they've been installed the other way around, and now they're covering where the throttle tube goes through, and you have to cut it in order to have access to put your throttle cable in. I made the same mistake in the past on some cars that I did. It was probably like 3 years in that I finally realized I was putting them in the wrong way. So we all learn. So there's our bell housing firewall seal installed. The side pieces are 10 times easier. We're going to do the same process on them, though. We are going to clean them out to make sure that we're not fighting a bunch of muck trying to get the new ones in there. Now that we've got the seal in there, take a little more cleaner. You just want to get that silicone off of it. You don't want anything on it that's going to attract dirt, grime. We're going to do the same process to both sides here. This is our apron seal, the one with the split in the middle. This does not have a top or a bottom that I can discern. It looks the same both ways. We can get some silicone in there. Some silicone on our piece. And this one usually just slides right in, no problems. So I want to tuck it behind this seal. When it's in there, the back part will be open like that, over that, so it's sealing the entire engine compartment off. So now we're just going to push her in place. And like that. So when our motor goes in, we make sure we have a top and bottom. Our tin is going to index in between here, like that. Our side tins. So now I see where I need to cut it, and I'm going to cut it right along that. Got a big pair of tin snips. We used to use these in the tile and shoe for cutting lath. They seem to do a really fine job. Hold her up where you want it cut. back out. I've got my one cut made. Now I just need to make that back cut. There's our side piece. And you saw how easily it goes in. Sometimes I'll even wait till the motor's installed to put them in. That way I know I'm overlapping upper and lower side of the tin. With a cut to size, this piece just slides in and out effortlessly. Because we took the time to clean that channel and because we lubricated it. Beautiful. One step closer to installing that motor. We'll get the other side going now. This is formed. Okay, you see how long my left side still is? Where that curve goes into it, this is that side I've already cut off. So make sure we're putting the straight side back on over here. So this is our remaining piece of rubber. You can see how much longer it is than the previous install on that. They had all this additional space coming up to the side piece, yet there's a channel on this apron to hold it in place there. That's just silly. You would have had one hell of a time getting it in there. So we're going to pull this other one out, put the new one in. I can already see we're going to have to do a little bit of corrective work on this lip, just because they pinched it over in the wrong spot. Let's get to it. Dry fit it. See how she looks. I'm very happy with that. We now have a fully sealed engine compartment. It looks nice and fresh and clean.
You